Lack of oxygen.
Reminds me of the gun shows in the US where everybody come with their guns.
Yep. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Let me just do a bit of icebreaker and know each other first. You may not know me, I may not know you, although I know some of you for a very long time. My name is Wesley. I'm the Sigma Key Opinion Leader, and I would like to share with you in particular for this hour just one thing, the camera. All right? So now, let's be frank. How many of you do not know that Sigma make cameras? How many of you don't know that Sigma actually make cameras? All of you know. You don't know, right? Okay, you don't know. Wait, see, somebody don't know. You know? You don't know. You know. You don't know. Okay, you don't know. You don't know. You don't know. Don't know. You're all very shy. That's why we need icebreakers, right? Sorry? Yes, sticker. Yeah, we can afford that. Yeah. The camera is not something to be given away. You know why? Because it is something that's very personalized, very intimate. There's something that you would treasure. And because of that, you would willingly part money with it. I'm not saying about just Sigma cameras, but any other cameras per se, right? Things that you get for free, sometimes you don't treasure it. Agree? Agree. Right. Now, since you do not know that Sigma actually make cameras, what do you know about Sigma? Lenses?
Yes, lenses.
Or elevator?
Elevator also got.
Sometimes, people call the company and say, hey, my elevator got something wrong, can you, whatever. So Sigma elevator is also known. It's nothing to do with Sigma Corporation Japan, okay? So that one is a very different business altogether. There's no relationship between the Sigma elevator and Sigma lenses, right? So many of us know Sigma through their lenses, which has been around for decades, right? So many of you might have experience using Sigma lenses or even owning one or two of these lenses. Today, I'm just going to talk a bit more about their lenses as well because there's a new product line that is kind of new to the market. It has been launched just slightly before the MCO, but somehow it gets fizzles along the way. But it is by no means gorgeous lenses that you must not ignore. All right, I know you are here at YLPF for a reason. You're probably looking for something to buy. Or probably you want to just buy something. That's the difference, huh? Okay, you come here to buy something, or you come here to wanting to buy something, or you force yourself to buy something. That's why most of you come alone. You don't come with your spouse, right? I wouldn't do that. Okay, so because if I buy a small lens, I can still tuck it in my car and sneak it in my bag and bring it at home, and tomorrow bring it to office. That's fine. Nobody knows. All right? Funny thing, huh? When your spouse bring you to LV shop, whatever, they make sure you go because you're the one swiping the card. All right, jokes aside. So now you know me already. I'm the kind of the LOL guy for Sigma, KOL guy for Sigma. So I want to talk something about the camera. My topic today is called, anyone knows? You get something though? FP camera? No, what's the title of my presentation? You want to run out and have a look and come back? Because you might actually get something. What are they getting? They get a gift, right? This is something from Japan, Sigma Corporation Japan, to be given away. I have 5 of this. So if you know the answer, what is the topic of my presentation today? Yeah. Yeah, okay. It's yours. It's that easy. Yeah. They are not very happy since you got it. So one person clap only. Let's clap for you. Okay, how can I know you? What's your name? Edmund. Okay. Do you know me? No. Oh, really? Man. Okay, all right. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Now, why pianissimo? Why fortissimo? Right? Because it stands for FP. But if you are into music, you learn music, you will definitely have to know these 2 terms because fortissimo means very loud, pianissimo means very soft. All right. Now, in the past 5 years or so, I think there has been a major renaissance in the photography industry. Devices gets a bit smaller, gets a bit simpler, I would say. Simpler is a relative terms, but there is a major transition from DSLR to mirrorless. Agree? Right. So what happens is that if you look outside at all the booth, we are actually at the pinnacle, if not higher, than the golden age of modern digital photography. Why do I say that? Now you are seeing big boys, big names, big brands coming out with gorgeous, highly capable mirrorless cameras, right? That far exceeds what a traditional DSLR can do. All right. On the first day of YLPF, I actually checked out one of the brands. The model is R10. I won't mention the brand, not in the context of today's presentation. R10, you know something? R10, right? There's like kind of like an entry-level mirrorless camera, right? And when I was shown how well it tracks people's head, face, hand, bumps, whatever, you know, it's amazing. I don't believe even their 1DX could do this back then. mirrorless cameras, the engineers are literally given a free hand to meet the standards of the performance of the lens regardless of the cost. All right, this one, it is built with portability, mobility, and yet not sacrificing optical performance in mind. That's where the I series comes in. Personally, I love this series because everything is very well built and the optical performance is near perfect. It's nothing less than any of the art lenses I have used. Okay, they even have focal lengths which are not common on art lenses, like 65mm, like 45mm. Okay, and they have various 24mm. This happens to be a 24mm. And during the MCO, you know, as we cannot go out, so what do we shoot? We do a lot of garden shots, garden shoots, right? So I was shooting a flower in my little garden, and I kind of like want to focus, and suddenly it's like eclipse. You know what happens in eclipse? It's like everything turns dark. You know what happened or not? The flower went inside the hood. And I can still lock focus. That's the beauty about this 24mm f3.5 contemporary lens. You want to try afterwards? Bring your camera, especially your Sony camera, to Sigma booth. Try it. You can focus as close as this. And you will still get a teeny confirmation. Okay? But you run out of light because the thing went inside. So remove this. All right? So, and just don't do this. But I can do this because I can show you that this is very, very tough. Have I done this? No. Yeah. I don't know why I'm doing this. Oh, it's my lens. Okay. Now, this is another gorgeous lens. I series, I'm just showing you many of my favorite ones. There are many I think I own. How many do I own? I can't remember. How many Sigma lens do I own? I can't remember. Okay, anyway. So this is 65 f2. 65mm f2, very small lens. It's fully autofocus, by the way, and it's fully metal construction. Okay, you can see, yeah? Okay, metal. This is magnetic cap. They also give you the typical pinch cap if you are so used to it. The pinch cap will be, unfortunately, plastic. Otherwise, they cannot put the spring in, right? I'm not going to drop this, but you can feel how good the lens is. 65 f2, gorgeous rendition. I'm going to show you some of the images, but I kind of like do it randomly. Yeah, this one. I shot this with the 65 f2 with some strobes on the FP. Okay, if you're smart enough, you'll ask me, how do you strobe with an FP? FP uses electronic shutter. Okay, leave it to the FAQ, all right? So I actually strobe this, and this is our camera. Okay, given my role with Sigma, I cannot do heavy processing on my files because it will be a gross misrepresentation. But this is something that can be done, and you can see how good it is, and you can even zoom in and look at how beautiful this is. I'm using L mount, yes, L mount, yeah, L mount. So 啱你啊，嚟試下冇？
有位啊，仲有位，仲有位。
有啊，去啊，有位啊。Okay, there's still space in her bag, so she's going to consider it lah. That's very good. All right. Yes, they are all in the L mount alliance, as I said. Leica L mount based lens, including their Summicrons, whatever, will fit directly onto the Sigma, and vice versa. All right, because they are all not compatible. They are all native to each other. They are all native to each other. It's not a compatibility issue. It's a native design. Okay, there will never ever be a compatibility issue, including when you shove this into a Panasonic body. All right, they are all native to each other. So now what is wonderful about this L mount alliance, if I may just touch one point on this, is that if you look at all the offerings, the core offerings from Panasonic, Sigma, and Leica, can you tell me who actually makes subpar lenses? No, there are no two grades to their lenses. All their lenses are good. You just have to buy a very big bag to fit all of them. It's probably a cabinet. All right, because Sigma do have like 150 to 600 mm zoom lens, and June considering 100, 400. My Tommy? Oh. Okay. Yeah. So that's why if you consider the value proposition of why I stick with L mount is because there are no subpar low-grade lenses in all the offerings as far as L mount is concerned. That's a value proposition. Right. Now, coming back to the Sigma camera, it's quirky also because it has switches which are very unconventional. There are not many switches, but the switches are all very laid bare, easy to use, you know, and the menu system is one of the simplest you've ever seen on this planet. Okay, I got lost inside, and when I get it done, I go out, I cannot go back in. All right, so you know what I mean, right? So this is built to be very simple, and it has one particular switch that I want your attention to, I want to focus attention on is the cine and still button. It's actually a switch. All right, so when you are doing still photography, you put it on still. You are doing video, you put it on cine. All right, the good thing about this is that the menu system is exactly the same from still to cine, which means it's, of course, there are some language that will change. For example, if you don't want to use shutter speed in cine mode, you can use shutter angle. That's fine. You know the difference? Come on, all of you are still, right? Why am I talking about video? Okay, anyway, just joking lah. I know do you shoot video? No, right? Yeah, maybe after this you shoot video. You shoot video. You know what shutter angle, right? You know what shutter angle? Google. Okay. Right. So now the other things that I want to talk about is how else and how well can this camera adapt to other lenses, right? Because it's a mirrorless camera. And as I said, the L mount system is one of the best one because right, the flange distance is very, very short. It's only 20 millimeter. All right, so that's 2 cm. You can adapt to almost anything that is on the DSLR and Dinosaur Edge, including a 4x5, which I will demonstrate to you. I actually brought everything on the table is mine. So except the projector. So I will show you to you how I use it, how Wesley use it, and why is it so significant in my kind of photography work. Okay, so coming back to this, one of the other mount you can use, let's talk about some of your favorite brands. Everyone likes to have a Leica M, right? M system. Yeah. So yeah, we can actually adapt it to an M system. As far as I know, someone here has already got a Leica M mount lens on his camera. Yeah, got. Yeah, okay. So with a simple mechanical adapter without any electronic, you can't have electronic anyway. So, yeah.
So what adapter do you need an adapter?
Yes, you need an adapter. And let me see, I can't see the dot. It's a bit dark here. Where's the dot?
What adapter is that?
I have a few. I have the Keepon one, I have the TT Artisan, I have the 7 Artisan ones. I recently bought the TT Artisan one, which is this one, black, because I like it aesthetically.
You put it onto the M system.
M you don't need now. M already goes M. This is an M mount lens. Okay, this is a Voigtlander M mount lens. Okay, it looks quirky. Right, let me take off everything. This is meant to go onto that camera, which is a Leica M system. Yeah, you can. I mean, I'm not going to, but you can. But now you can actually use this as well. So it's very easy. Mount it on, and here you go. You have a very capable, high quality, fantastic, price affordability M mount system. All right. So focusing obviously is manual focus, but it's not difficult because you have got a big LCD, you have got focus peaking, you have got you can actually attach a viewfinder. Okay, you can actually attach a viewfinder here, and this viewfinder can be angled, so you can do this. So if you like to do street photography, you want to take pictures without people knowing, you can actually put it up here. And this is about 2 point something, about 3 megapixel resolution on this. And it doesn't need to be externally powered. It's powered directly by the camera. And this is a Sigma original product. All right, it works on both the FP and the FPL. Now, the difference between the FP and the FPL, L being large size, is that that is a 61 megapixel camera. This is 24. Externally, button, everything, configuration, except for the logo, everything is the same. In fact, you can't even tell from the logo because the L is engraved, so it's very dark. You can't see. You still see the FP in white, but you can't see the L clearly. All right, and most of the time, I'm using the FPL ever since it came out during the MCO. All right, and I love that camera because I'm actually using that camera as a digital bag of sorts. All right, as a M-mount digital bag, as a Leica L-mount system, which is native to this, and I also use it on my 4x5. I also use it on my Canon lenses. Does that make sense? Using Canon lenses on this? Yeah, actually you can. Where's Agnes? Okay. She forgot to bring a bag. Okay, I'm going to show you. Can somebody help run out? Eric, QR, Agnes, got bag leh. All the lenses inside. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to show you how we are going to adapt Canon mount lenses, EF, not RF, EF lenses onto a FP and still maintaining image stabilization and autofocus. Okay, it's a little bit slower. Where's that bag with all the lenses? No, it's okay. This is the most important one. All right, now, why is it hot? It's big. It feels hot. Anyway, okay. This is an original Sigma adapter. It's called MC21 EF to L. So you can use this adapter on the Sigma FP body, but unfortunately, adapters don't come under the alliance agreement. You cannot put this on the SL. You cannot put this on the Leica SL. Okay? Actually, you can, but I'm not sure it probably would not autofocus. I'm not sure you have to try and see, but it definitely works on the S series. Lumix S will work very well with this one. All right. Personally, I use both the Sigma FP, FPL, and also a Lumix S1R, and all of these are L mount cameras. Okay. Now, what this can do is that it converts the EF protocol onto L. Right. So when you adapt this on, you can now use any Canon EF lenses on FP. All right. So, yep. See, I can actually focus. I'm actually recording video. Okay. Switch on the button. I can actually focus, and there you go. All right. So actually, I can use this and use any EF lenses on this. I have things as long as 200mm 2.8L. I have that lens. Okay. And I love sometimes adopting it differently because I want to get different rendition, different mood and feel of how lenses render. It's like using different strokes, different paintbrush. All right, so to me, it is a beautiful system to work on where I have a very, very small body and I just build and rig up to what I need to use. Depends on how I want to render something. All right, so this is something that is highly, highly possible and this is an original product. All right, now, as I mentioned just now, one of my favorite adaptation is to Leica M mount, and lenses that I'm particularly fond of are the void-lender lenses. The void-lender lenses, why? Number one is because void-lender lenses are made new by Cosina. You can buy them new. They are gorgeous looking. They are very, very small, and they are highly capable. And I purposely buy the so-called not so popular ones, as in like the f-stops are rather big, as in not big in numbers, but high in numbers. So this particular one is f3.5, but the rendition is fantastic. It's cinematic feel. It has the classic rendition, but yet remains very, very sharp. All right, it's okay, no worries. So what are the examples of those? Not this one, not this one, not this one, not this one. No. Wait. Oh, not meant to show from there. It's meant to show from here. I'm so sorry. Okay. You can pass it around. These are some of the recent shots I made into small prints for Portlander. You can refer. And these are all shot with the epi out of camera. All right. Can I Photoshop it? Of course, I can Photoshop it, but I choose to shoot it in just pure, simple JPEGs. And you can immediately look at the dynamic range of what the sensor is capable of, how clean the image are, and how the lens renders. Now, I have lenses which are very clinical, very sharp, very, no vignetting, that kind. These are all for my daily work. By the way, I am not a photographer by profession. So Wesley is never a photographer. So it's very true when I say that I'm not a photographer. But I do have to rely on photography to get my job done. What do I shoot daily? I shoot painting and artwork. I'm an art reproduction specialist. All right. I'm also a Giclée printer. I specialize on color management and I do prints. All right. So that's all my job. And when I scan an artwork, people ask me, oh, don't you use scanners to scan artwork? I say, that's a very good question. Very valid. So those days that we have to scan My Sejahtera, do you actually use scanner? You use scanner? What do you use? Sorry? You screenshot? You use your phone camera, right? Anyone use scanner? Actually, the whole queue will have to wait 5 minutes. No, you actually use your camera. So why do we use cameras is because the whole system optically much more superior than any scanners that you can find in this world. All right, even to be frank, the most expensive art scanner in the world uses a camera system. I'm talking about Cruise. Okay, now, if you look at some of these images as you pass it on, okay, you begin to realize that the picture has got a character to it, and that's what I'm after. If I'm doing photography as a leisure activity, as my off-duty fun activity, I wouldn't want something that's so clinical that, wow, everything sharp here, sharp there, sharp there. I'm done with that during the day already. I want something that has more like a master stroke, that has a different feel of it. So I'm beginning to look for lenses which has a bit of a flaw. Okay, inverted commas, is inherently built in so that the flaw turns out to be something that's very appealing aesthetically. Understand? All right? So lenses which are highly clinical are like an X-ray or I don't know, MRI scan or whatever scan, right? You have it for that part, but sometimes I want things to render differently. So if you look at the images, these are all our images. Oh, by the way, this particular one you're holding is one of the first that I actually hold when I actually bought that lens. And this is very hard to set up. I'm actually at a cafe and I look at the situation and say, hey, this is quite nice, So I quickly run back to my office and I took 5 ProPhoto lights and I set it up, and Agnes and Eric was helping me, and we actually set up and light it, and we actually have to ask permission from the cafe to say, can you allow us like 3 table space radius kind so that we can set up with all our light stands and so on? Yeah, we actually set it up for like 2 minutes, 2 hours, and we finally got the shot. Isn't it gorgeous? Nice, huh? Would you have done that? Okay, the know-how is besides the point. I can give you a free lesson. You know why? Because at the end of the day, I just kind of give up, and there was just a thought that I wanted to run back and get my lights. Actually, I didn't. I just shoot without. This is shot with just ambient light, by the way. So yeah, I'm joking. Okay, so nobody will do that. If you consider from a photography point of view, remember, okay, Wesley is one of the laziest. I always take shortcuts. Something that needs comprehensive setup and so on, other than my scanning work, no. I saw that and I point my FP with the wide lender lens, whatever is written there. Looking at that situation, I had a moment of euphoria. It's like, wow, took one shot. Then I was checking, composition correct or not. Yeah, Eric, you did forget to remove your bag. Okay, remove your bag, take one more shot. About 5 shots, I'm done. Okay? Did I clone out everything? No. It's exactly as what it is. Is that easy? Yeah, f2.8. So it's like, you see, it's all about rendition. It's not about Oh, aperture, how large, how big, how blur. If you want it so blur, yes, I know there's a use for it. I also have a use for it. It's like when you want to take passport photo and you have no decent wall, you shoot in the toilet. You can shoot in the toilet, right? And you just blur off everything and just bounce a flash and you're done. But that's not what I want to do. I want rendition. When an artist draws something, sometimes they deliberately blur something, but they also give you a hint of what it is. It cannot just be a splash of, I don't know what, limbo? Or something that's blurred to oblivion or something. And if I'm shooting with, say, 50 megapixels, 61 megapixel, why should I allocate 60% of my megapixels to something that's blurred? Isn't it crazy? That's just me lah. So you can say, no, I like to shoot bokeh and bokeh is all that matters. I'm not going to argue with you. All right? Okay, so if you look at it, you will see that this camera plus this lens combination give you something that is extraordinary. Agree? Right? Now, what happens if I sometimes shoot halfway and, you know, well, I'm not a photographer, right? I shoot also, sometimes I don't download one. So what I do, I fill out my card. So when I run out of space, what do? Go and buy another card. SD cards aren't exactly cheap these days. So what I can do is that if I search my bag, sometimes I find my so-called little thumb drive. Where is it? Oh. Okay. So sometimes I find my thumb drive, like this one. This is actually SSD. And what I do is that I just plug it into the USB-C and I start shooting into the SSD. Okay? I would say this is probably the only camera that can do this. I'm not sure if there's any other one. None of the other brands can actually do this. And you can also record video 4K 30, 12-bit cinema, raw DNG onto a SSD like this. How wonderful. Do you need external recorder? No. And mind you, since I mentioned camera DNG, this is the only camera that can shoot camera DNG 12-bit. And 12-bit means it's raw. Okay? Wagyu A5 raw. No seasoning. All right? No 422 crap. I don't have to compress anything. Each frame is a DNG raw file that's approximately 13 megabytes per frame. And you're talking about 30 frames per second. You know how much data going to this thing? Yeah. SanDisk is selling something like this. Go and buy the most expensive one and be happy with it. So you will be considering, Steven, my friend, you see, how many do you buy? Okay, so how many, because the files are huge and it's raw video file, so a 1 terabyte will give you approximately 42 minutes of footages. 42. All right? But it's gorgeous because it's raw. Okay, you know what raw is capable of. All right? Now, next one, probably the last one is, before that, just talk a bit about image quality and all this zoom in and so on. Okay, this is one of the shot I did with when I test one of the lenses. I can't remember what lens is it. I don't know. Okay. Some lens testing in my typical usual lens testing ground. Some of you may have seen me going to Changkat, Tunku all the time and so on, but I got so bored with it already. I didn't want to go. Okay, I go there because of lens test, not because of the, I'm going to chase the moon, I'm going to chase the sky. No. Okay, I'm there because I want to test certain lenses. I want to look at field curvature, I want to look at aberration, I want to look at everything. That scene kind of reveals everything good and bad about the lens. All right, this is one of it. It's our camera. And if you look at the dark areas, this is shot at ISO 100. It is very, very clean. And this is not the first shot. That means the sensor would have heated up to a certain point that noise are usually induced on the digital sensor like this, right? Agree? All right? Now, and if you think that this is so clean, this is going to be better. You know why? Because that was shot with the FPL 61 megapixel camera. This is 24. No. They have yet to come up with the foveal, but a new foveal sensor will be announced end of the year and possibly a new camera next year. But those are not high ISO stuff, but it's going to be gorgeous as far as pixel acuity is concerned, if you know what I'm talking about. And why doesn't a FP heats up like your typical mirrorless camera? Because of the heat sink. Okay? That's why I say this is a core unit built to be very solid as the foundation of how you build up your external camera rig, right? This thing is a heat sink. I have shot this in broad daylight, hot sun, and so on, while my other cameras would have boiled an egg. This does not even do anything. It just keep on going and going. All right. And while having this heat sink with the holes on it and so on, it still retains its dust and splash proof capability. That's amazing, right? So where can you find a core unit camera like this that can do so much unless you do not know what to do with the camera and you ask the camera, hey, what should I do today? It's just like, Google get lucky, okay? So no, we are not. If we are trained to be real photography enthusiasts or photographers, we know what we want, and this is one of the gear that you can really consider. Like June, if you don't want to pull out your big SL, you gonna liok or whatever, right? You know, people who go after Leica one, go a small camera lah. But same lenses, you know. You bring 3 lenses, that 3 lenses can be used on your SL and also can be on the FP. And this is kind of like your off-duty camera that still gives you that state-of-the-art images. All right? Any questions so far? No. No means we go to the one part that's very interesting because prior to half of last year, I'm the only one in Malaysia that has this Cambo rig. Why I need this is because of my work, as also because of my photography style, and because I like to keep things in perspective. All right. So if you look at some of these images, okay, let me just go through the images. All right. I shot this. You know where is this, right? Where's this? In town. Yeah. The clock tower just beside the Masjid Jami river, right? The converging river, right? Yeah. I shot this. It's not a one shot. There are 12 shots in this. Okay? The amount of megapixel I can get after stitching is massive. I'm talking about nothing less than 700 megapixels. Because I shot with the FPL, which is 61 megapixel per shot, and I actually mount it on the Cambo rig, and I do rise, fall. I have full technical movements, all right? And I can shift. Okay, don't worry, my camera is not broken. It's meant to be like this. It can move, all right? So you know what a large format camera can do, and some of you probably have used tilt shift lenses, right? And tilt shift lenses aren't exactly cheap, right? This is not cheap. For something that kind of gives you like a sheepskin and a piece of metal, it is definitely not cheap. I'm talking about 5 figures, right? But it solves a lot of fundamental things, right? It solves issues of distortion, issues of depth of field, creative adjustments of how you want perspective to be, and so on and whatnot, all right? I also have 4x5 camera systems. 1 from you, 2 from Sinar. I actually have accumulated 4 4x5 systems, all right? And they are not dinosaurs, but they are very good paperweights. It's very heavy. So I will never ever carry those out to the field because those weigh about 10 kilograms plus tripod. All right, so this one is very light. I can actually fit this whole rig inside my small Billing handbag, smaller than yours by half. All right, yeah, yours is a Hadley large, right? Yeah. See, I know my product one. I didn't have that because if I put this in, it will be too deep in and it's very hard to take out. All right. So all these are very good solutions. And now, if you look from the side, this camera makes sense. It is now so small. It is a perfect digital bag. It's self-powered. What do you look for in a digital bag? High megapixel, self-powered, can do high ISO, can do any ISO, can do timer, can do intervalometer, can do anything, can do even street video. This is what the core unit is all. Okay, and I was so fond of using the FP and the FPL that I don't think there's any other camera system that can fit this bill and can fit into my bag. It's crazy, all right? And large format lenses are easy to get. This is a Nikkor 65. I have, I also have this. If you can answer me, what is the focal length of this lens? This is actually another large format lens. If you can answer this, I give you another gift. Okay? Can you see it or not? Cannot see it. It's very small, smaller than that one. Okay, well, guess. I take 3 guesses. Just shout out any focal length. What do you think? 100? 35? 40. Okay, I take 3 more. I didn't say right or wrong. I just want to have more fun. I know more people have chance. 24. Okay. You guys are so good. So full frame minded. Huh?
50.
Okay, you change. 50. Boleh. Accept. Some more? Shaker. You know one. You cannot one. Huh? Sorry? 85. Ah, okay. 58. Why 58? Why 28? Oh, you're very full frame minded. Oh. Bloody hell. This Nicole must be very sad. I'm a bloody 300mm lens and you call me 28, you call me 58, you call me 50, whatever, 50 and so on. I'm 300, okay? I'm 300mm. And you call me what again? Yeah. Okay. Since we're at it, let me see. What else I can dig from my bag? Huh? I think I have one more lens, right? So none of you are very close, but who mentioned 100 just now? Who mentioned 100? Okay lah, you're off by 3 times, but I give it to you. Right. Let me check. I don't know. I have all these pouches, you know. During MCO, it's very scary. During MCO, we got nothing to do, right? Cannot go out and shoot, right? 10 kilometers, so you kena. And someone you can park tripod there, you sure die one. Okay? So we don't want every shot to be 1,000 ringgit or 2,000 ringgit, depends on their mood. So what you do is that you start to do housekeeping. Then I suddenly have this idea, hey, why don't I bring back everything from my office and just put it at home? I have to make 2 trips. I got 5 bags. All right? And at home, you know what I do? Okay, this is the Canon mount one. This one Sigma mount one. This one is, I don't know, whatever mount one. And this is the 4x5 one and whatever. No, I got scared. So what I do is that, look at Lazada, quickly buy all these small pouches and hide all these lenses. All right? Because, some of these are not declared one. Soy for, submarine set to the house, bypassing the finance minister. You know what I mean? Yeah, so these are the kind of contrabands. Okay, so this little contraband is actually very fun. It's actually a lens from Schneider. All right, and can you guess the focal length? Again, a wild guess. Sorry? 105? Any number? 300. Oh, clever. 300. Oh, yo. 400. Wow. 400 at Copal Zero also I want. They don't know large format. Okay, never mind. Okay, what? 600. Okay lah. 200. 600 a lot. 600 不可以睇啊，幾大支啊。Okay, I understand you all have never seen the large format system, all right? Large format system has got 3. Okay, large format cameras are mountless cameras. What is mountless cameras? That means that you don't mount the lens onto a body one. There's no so-called body. All right, let me explain a bit and give you a tip. And I'm going to collect $50 on the way out. All right. Okay, this is an anatomy of a large format camera in a miniature form. If you take the bezel out, there's nothing in between. So it is not a mount-based camera. All right. So if you talk about mount-based, not a 4x5. So, which means this thing can be taken out. This is a lens plate. A lens plate. And in this case, I'm using a Copal Zero lens plate. Why Copal Zero? Because the shutter unit is here, mounting to the lens. All right? This is where the ray of incidence goes in, and this is where the projection comes out. And the projection is actually a lot bigger because 4x5 is measured in inches, not in centimeters. So it's a lot bigger. How bigger is 4x5 compared to full frame? You think full frame is very big? I always complain on my Facebook that full frame is so puny small compared to 4x5, right? You know how big? It's only about 16 times bigger only, nothing one, okay? It's about 16 times larger than a full frame by surface area, all right? So this whole combination is called a front standard, this is called a rear standard, and the rear standard, actually, you can also change, all right? You can take this out, and you can change to another camera, but in this case, I'm using a L mount plate. So in between, to gap it off, you actually use a bellow, all right? So a bellow, in this case, is a magnetic bellow, is easy, and you can do this. And when you focus, you don't have tinny one, please. Okay, there's no electronic lah, those days. And what you do is you focus on the rail, all right? And if you want to, let me go to the side. If you want to focus finely, this is your knob, and you can focus it that way. So I'm going to plug it in onto here, and you will know why I love the epi so much when I adapt it to this camera. Before that, just finish off. Okay, so there are like 12 images in here, and after stitching, this is what you get. All right, this one as well. You know where I shot this or not? Hey, clever. Why? Because of the bak kut teh, is it? You know the big bak kut teh at the corner, and then the overhead bridge, the walkway lah. I actually shot there. Yeah. Okay. So I shot this again during MCO because I got this whole rig during MCO. Yeah. And you know what's the best thing about this or not? I actually didn't go there for the bak kut teh. I just go there for look for something to shoot lah. But my friend Steven not free so I go alone So I shoot. You know, Steven, you know what happened? I actually made a print of this and I put it in front of my gallery at Ilford, and someone bought it. Yeah. Okay, so someone bought a print, this one, and I sold it 4,000 ringgit. 4,000 ringgit only. All right. So that's my print. All right. I shot this near my office, and you know where is this? Ara Damansara, where the SIMW Auto City is, and I shot this at near Twilight. All right. So again, this is multiple stitch, and it depends on whether I am actually shooting it horizontally or I'm shooting it vertically. All right, because from here I can still rise and fall. I can still shift. So I can take multiple shots, depends on it, and after I shoot this, it will be so almost perfectly straight. I just need to do minor crop and I get this aspect ratio. This one is obviously this way. All right? And when you try to shoot wide angle like this, what do you get? You get the foreground. You get your leg until the building, all right? And the building will be so squashed because you're pushing everything away. I'm actually using 90mm to pull everything closer to me, and yet I can get a very wide view because I'm actually shifting. All right? So I actually gain wider. All right? How much wider? A large format 4x5 is approximately 4 times wider than a film, diagonally 4 times wider than a typical full frame 35mm format. All right? So that also depends on the lens I use. Like before I ask you again for what is the focal length, or nobody got it anyway. This is actually 120mm. You are very close, so I get you something. 105, but this is 120mm. Is HM Sima Micro. All right, it's a micro lens. All right, and any large format lenses can be turned into a macro capable thing by just distancing the bellow. All right, so if you want to focus anything at minimum focusing distance, you can just extend the bellow. That's how good it is. That's why once I use it, the rest doesn't matter. Right. So if you can look at this, yeah, it's also very straight, and also from this frame to that frame is your 55. Here to there is all sharp because why? I can now afford to do this. When I want to gain something that is diagonal plane of focus, I can actually shift. Okay? I can shift my plane of focus to be sideways so that from this part of the building until the end of the part of the building is within the depth of field regardless of my f-stop, my aperture size. I can even shoot at f4, f5.6. Okay? Mind you, in large format, nobody talk about f1.4, f2, that kind of f-stop. It doesn't exist. All right? Okay. F4 is considered humongous. 5.6 is quite normal. F8, F9, super normal. All right? So lenses that I use, like the 300mm I use, is actually f9. And what does that f9 lens give me? It gives me things like this. Right? So this was exactly more than a year ago because I was invited to a casual shoot on Malaysia Day. Ming Kwan. Who knows Ming Kwan? No, it's okay. So I wanted the that flower and that flower to the dried leaf, sorry, to be in the plane of focus. So you look easy. You would have shot it at f16 to gain 2 at focus, but I don't need to. I just need to shift and then to tilt. All right. So when I do a shift and I do a swing and a tilt, I get the plane of focus to be diagonal, so that I get both to be in the plane of focus. That's how I compose it. Because I would think, when I look at this, right, I like the shape, I like the color and so on. And by the way, I shoot with teal and orange on the FP camera. It's gorgeous, right? You can even shoot human with teal and orange and it doesn't look like Transformers, right? They are very good. Now, when I saw this, I have to imagine, if I'm an artist, I'm going to draw something, I'm going to paint something, how am I going to paint it? You see, artists draw, they follow f1.4, f2 one, bokeh one, no, right? They draw to their impression, right? So if my impression is that two must be shot, the rest doesn't matter, this is what I'm going to compose photographically, all right? This one as well. I want the layering to be done properly. So yes, I did a tilt. No. This is 300 millimeter. I shot this more than a year ago using that same 300 millimeter f9 lens at f11, all right, on the Sigma FPL in the blue hour. And blue hour, usually it gets a lot of noise. You tell me whether you can see noise. On a 61 megapixel sensor, that's how good the core unit is, the camera is. Even at very high megapixel, after I've taken many, many shots and the sensor just doesn't heat up because of that magical heat sink, all right? So if you look on my iPad, it's actually extremely sharp, right? And there's no aberration because in those days, I think nobody made subpar lenses, okay? The big four of large format lenses, namely Nikkor, Fujinon, Schneider, and Rodenstock, none of them make silly lenses, all right? So this is an example, and I actually have a printout of this. Now that said, this is something when you got nothing to do, you are so bogged down at home, you can't do anything, you think out of the box. So people say that the Sigma FP is it's an electronic shutter only camera. It doesn't have a focal plane shutter. So technically you can't flash. So I thought, sounds like it, yeah, but I'm going to overcome it because why? I've got this set. So I've got a central shutter in front, which is a Copal unit, and also an electronic shutter at the back. So I'm going to make use of two shutters, and I can freeze water droplets. Freezing water droplets is not funny because why? You need a very high, what? If you get this right, I'm going to give you another prize. You need a very, ask you not to come, you come. Okay, you need a very short flash duration. It's nothing to do with your shutter speed. If you look at my EXIF file, you will laugh. Because why? My EXIF file will show 1 second. Why 1 second? Simple. Because why? I need this to trigger first, open up the shutter electronically, and then trigger this at 1/500 of a second on the front shutter. So how do I trigger this? Very simple. I put a trigger, and I clock the shutter, close the thing, and then do this. You hear that? You hear that? Okay, if I increase my shutter speed, oh, sorry, the other way around. Okay, it's very fast, 1/500 a second. It's faster than your conventional flash sync speed, which is 1/250, 1/300. This is 1/500. So that's why I can freeze water droplet. And this is straight out of camera, okay, with the FP. If you look at the EXIF, it will show you 1 second, all right? Tak aci lah, sifu. Okay, right. So there are many, many possibilities when I shoot with this, and this is a dash highway, the new highway that's about to be open in about a couple of months' time. It's near my house. It's a cross between, it's going to link up Damansara Perdana, which is where near, no, not where you are, Damansara Perdana to Puncak Alam, all right? So that's the highway, and I saw this and I actually came down from my car and shot this, right? Again, this is multiple shot because I print my own files. I like huge files, all right? I don't like small files. Small files are only for screens. So you can see when you put things into perspective, things changes. It's different, all right? As opposed to shooting with a wide angle lens. This is SS2, by the way. Yeah, I didn't bring the other one because now the FP is a very gorgeous, capable digital bag. I can now use multiple lenses in front, including medium format lenses. So what I do is that I normally can change this and put on my Pentax 645 lens with this plate and put it in front with a bellow. All right, so this is actually shot, a test shot with the Pentax 645 45-85 lens, 45 to 85 zoom lens. And that lens don't cost you any much than 920 ringgit door to door, eBay. All right. So now, because I can adapt this to my FP, it's gorgeous. And again, this is a multiple stitch file, and I actually printed it. And the same guy who got drunk actually bought the print again. Then this is another $4,000 sale. Yeah. So it's
It's use a big format lens. It's quality better than SLR.
good question. What do you think? Okay, Eric asked a very good question. Eric, right? He asked a very good question. When I use a yesteryear's lens, 30 years old, 40 years old, large format lens, when I put it onto a digital body, will it be sharp or not? I don't know. Because why? Back then, nobody can answer you. There's no digital back, right? And now, people have digital cameras, but they don't have a rig like this, ma. So the only one who can answer you is me. Okay, yes, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. I never thought it was possible. I thought that it will degrade at some point, but it doesn't. It kind of defies the logic that we think conventionally when we have a mount-based full-frame camera system. Which also means that now when I shoot at f16, there's no diffraction. When I shoot at f16, it's no diffraction. And why do I sometimes shoot at f16? Because of time. I want to store the time, but more importantly, I want to have the largest image circle. All right. Some of the image circle, like this lens, 120 millimeter. Where did it go? This one. This 120 millimeter lens has got a projection that can cover a 8 by 10. You know how big is the 8 by 10? 8 by 10 inch. That's almost the size of an A4 paper. And that's your film plane. And 8 by 10 compared to your puny full frame, you can move everywhere like, you know, like playing a computer game inside a field, a box. Yeah. So these are gorgeous. So even at f16, you have no problem at all. All right. And the acuity is very high. And most of the lenses that I adapt to, except for some very wide angle lenses, there's no aberration. They are so well built. And you don't need any rocket science like spherical element, apo element, I don't know what po. They only have at most like 5 elements, 3 groups, 4 groups. Very simple lens formula, but gorgeous and full of character. If I'm given more time and more opportunity, I would have taken a portrait, and you will see that, bloody hell, this is the kind of portrait I want lah, not the ngang one that can count hair one, like a steel string one. No, every very, very nicely rendered of how a top artist would have drawn and painted you. Okay, any questions? If not, no, I don't have that yet because I have not researched enough to get anyone, but I'll be looking at some telecentric lenses, especially projection telecentric lenses that will probably work very well with this system. Okay, so if not, any more questions? Any more? My time is up, but I think we can stay for about 5-10 minutes. I will show you, I will hang it up and teach you how to focus because you need to come here. So that'll be easier. If no question, thank you very much. Thanks for listening to me. And thanks to Sigma for inviting all of you here. And now we can all stand tall and look at this camera that is in fact a very loud camera, yeah? Agree? Fortissimo. The core unit, ask them, I don't know. Price changes every week. Thanks for coming. It's from Sigma. 一個 scaffold 咁樣好日本嘅。Yeah. The wide lander is 50 mm 3.5. Eric, you can go to Eric and look for this.
我咗幾多錢入多一粒係咪咧就？
掂掂。Sorry.
I have a different design.
Yeah, it's a different. There's, I think the 28 is also somewhat like this. Yep. Okay.
I have the 21 2.5.
Okay. Alright. Okay. Thanks. Thanks. 我知我哇 conference Kingdom City 啊，哇3日咗啊。呀呀。嚟過嚟過嚟過嚟過嚟。11點啊，呢個 week 係10點。Just this week 10點。Can okay. Thanks. Thanks, Johnson. This, I mean, when you have this, the rest doesn't matter. And it's so small, you can put inside a small, our small billing handbag.
You have to explain to them that it's the film plane and the
Yeah, but that
lens
will
plane.
drag like,
Yeah, I know.
crazy.
That it works, moves independently.
Correct. Okay, let me try to project it so that you see what this camera is seeing. And when we do the technical movement, you see, oh, why like that, why like that? It changes the way you look at things anyway. So it's like, if you have the time, you are not doing the run and gun event, these are the kind of camera system you want to use. Anyway, this part starts here. It's that small. All right. This is about 1.6 kilogram. The camera